find its beat before the show begins. Stay tuned to find out on Mutants and Masterminds Monday. Well, it is Mumamo, as you can tell by the sleepy music of the artificial intelligence. I don't know if this is what they're going to offer up for artificial intelligent music. I'm going to have to pass. I just got a note from the AI saying, shut up, we will hurt you. Okay, great, fine. Hey, folks, thank you. Sorry about being late. We just bumped into a couple tech problems, but we made it. It's Mumamo. RC, happy Mumamo unto you. Rebel Moose is here. The topic has me remembering the insect swarms from Diablo 2, draining all your stamina so you couldn't run. That's right. You know, Rebel Moose, it reminds me of the boil bugs that I have yet to be able to release from my mind thanks to the 5th season.
Right.
They're bugs that are nice, I guess, throughout the rest of the year, and then the 5th season comes in and boils you so that it can eat you.
That was super awful, I have to say.
That
just
sounds
the
awful.
worst. Yeah, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Dominic says, good Mumamo all. Let's see. Mutants. Mutants and Masterminds. We're your mute-aunties. AJ says, howdy folks. Squire, yeah, good to see you, friend. Claude says, if that's where this AI is going, I'm gonna have to pass away as well. Oh, you know what? We've got our friends over in the Discord. Apook says, happy Mumamo, super fam. And why am I doing this to you, gentlemen? This show is not complete without a beat or your faces. Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
You know, I wrote a poem.
It's true.
Troy did write a poem.
I did. There are a few versions. I will read to you the version that made I self-edited. I actually made myself not. I was appropriate.
Just in case you wondered whether Troy was capable of self-editing, he is.
One time. But while I'm doing that, I want to remind everybody that. So here's the deal. We are so close, so very close to being a partner over on YouTube.
Ooh, how close are we?
We are mere hours away. So we need 4,000 hours of watch time, and we have 3,736. So if everybody could watch 100 hours of our programs in the next hour to get 100 of your friends, that would be great. It would be really appreciated. But tell your friends, stop by, watch a classic Mumamo, have some fun, and we'll get there. I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be a big deal for us because then we'll be able to do merch on the YouTube site. So yeah, all kinds of Mumamo goodness. So let's see. Here we go. A reading from me, your only friend. Let's see. Across the floor and up the wall, you might see one or miss them all. Hiding right now, as big as your house, even boldly concealed inside your mouth. Because, people eat so many spiders a year or whatever. So they say, a tiny friend or giant foe, a dangerous end or something less so. Join Alex, Steve, Disembodied Troy as we conjure ideas for you to employ. Not flora, not fauna. Now, that's a question I had. Are the insects fauna?
They are.
Technically, yes.
Son of a gun. Well, that's just science. No spirits or thugs. It's all Raymond's fault. Today's all about bugs. That was my long way of saying, Raymond, thank you so much for this topic. We sat down and had a wonderful planning. We planned, I think, up until the next millennia. And so, yeah, today was Raymond's topic. And I got to tell you, I'm curious about how we're going to handle this. There's a lot to discuss, right?
Yeah.
Bring us home, Alex.
Bugs.
What do you think? Yeah,
Well,
bugs.
I
Hey,
quite
Iki.
enjoy bugs. They are wonderful adversaries for certain characters. They're wonderful allies for other characters,
Sure.
and they're a great obstacle that you can use whether your heroes are big or small, but especially when they're small.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. Now, what's your favorite, generally speaking, gentlemen? What are your favorite bugs? in just the world at large.
Do Tyranids count?
Is that a bug?
They're bugs in the Warhammer 40k universe.
Right. They're
Oh,
fictional
sure.
bugs.
I think sure. I mean, yeah. Tyranid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, those are cool looking. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're neat. They are a massive hive mind from outside our galaxy that is coming to destroy everything and reduce it down into biomass to make more Tyranids.
Right.
I love it. I'm looking at the Mutants and Masterminds. I love that.
Mhm.
Spider George.
But if they're real bugs, probably ants. I think ants are my favorite.
I'm with you,
Ants
Alex.
are pretty cool.
Steve, what is your favorite bug in general?
Well, I guess it depends on the the usage of them. I think as scary bad guys, I'm very fond of scorpions.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's just nothing quite as sinister as a scorpion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
I had an insane nightmare about scorpions the other day.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I had a nightmare that I was the son of a Soviet spy high school science teacher in a small town in the 80s who had this weird, like, scorpion pet that he would make me sleep with every night, and he would, like, melt down my body and mix it with the scorpion's chitin. It was horrible. It was a terrible, terrible dream.
Wow.
That is intense and detailed, my friend. A quick poll I'm asking for people who are sharing their dreams: in color or no color? Do you remember?
Color. My dreams are always in color.
Nice.
The Soviet scorpion. That's a great villain name.
That is, yeah. Yeah. What did someone say? Anthro-scorpions? No, yikes. Grasshoppers. Claude says grasshoppers. Yeah, each insect that you think of does kind of have a character, sort of, like the scorpions as being sort of villainous. And you've got grasshoppers that seem kind of like country friends, just kind of friendly.
Yeah.
Ants dispassionate and doing a thing, or that's fun. Let's see.
Oh, Simon, I hate rad scorpions. Every time a rad scorpion pops up and I'm playing Fallout, I pee my pants and run away.
Wow, that's awesome. My favorite bug, since you asked, the praying mantis.
Also a classic.
Yeah, really fun. Foragers.
Somehow that makes sense, Troy.
Yeah, you think so?
I don't know why that makes sense to me, but it makes sense to me.
Right?
It's my posture, isn't it?
It feels very in character.
What is Spider's George? Or Spider's Gorg?
That is the urban legend about how many spiders you eat every year and how it took off on the internet.
Yeah, it is true. I count them as I eat them. Let's see.
Yeah, or not. If you have an insect phobia, this may not be the one episode for you.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because we will be talking about insects, and there will be insect-like discussions that might be distressing. A lot of people do not like insects. So this might not be your program. Let's see. Bad time to say. Yeah, no. Ladybugs are pretty miraculous. For me personally, this is me. Ladybugs just seem like a prettier painted gross bug. But, that's just me.
Who are they fooling? I mean, really.
Right?
It's just a bug with neck tattoos.
And I want to acknowledge real quick, just before the Sean starts to summon their powers, Sean Dugan's asking about printing progress. I think we've got good news there, right? Aren't things off?
Things are printing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's good.
The printer is actively running this very moment. But subreddit complaining about the $100 price tag for physical books on Amazon. We'll have to dig into that, but yeah, I mean, printing, all of that is, much like groceries, much like gas, much like, all of that. It's rough. It is really rough.
The extra books should be going on our website as well, because we're not just printing the orders that we got. We're printing a big batch of books. So
indeed,
that's right.
If you did not pre-order, you did not go through the Kickstarter, you should be able to get books from our website or other providers.
The remaining books should go into distribution.
Sorry, or Anon. We will keep your seat warm for the next program, which will be not about bugs. But I hear you, and I was trying to think, how could we mitigate that? But we just, just a tough one. Really
it is a great idea to have a warning for insects. I had a woman come to a convention game that was titled Arachnophobia, who was like, "Oh, there are spiders in this game," And
Okay.
it was a horror scenario involving spiders, and her
Sure.
phobia was so bad that she couldn't hear the word spider. So she stayed for the game, but every time a spider would show up, we'd use the word sandwich instead.
Okay, well, that's a thoughtful way to be able to include some folks
Mhm.
who, yeah, and
Mhm.
so she would just fight just sort of this sandwich.
It would just be about how the ceiling of the room was just thickly covered in sandwiches.
That's
Mhm.
right. You're trapped in a sandwich web. SC
No, it's a
Terramarine, you
pastrami
are.
weave.
Hate that.
Sir, this is an Arby's. SC Terramarine says ladybugs protect our gardens, and they do. They really do. That is
They
amazing.
do. They eat
Mhm.
Yeah.
aphids and other predators.
Yeah, yep, yeah. Arcia says she thought it was a game for folks afraid of spiders, so she thought it was spider free. Oh, wait, is that true? Or are you just being funny, Arcie?
She's just being funny.
A
Maybe.
sinister sandwich crawls across the
She
web.
was a great player though. She was a lot of fun, and I was glad we were able to accommodate it for her. Despite
Yeah, I think that's special. I like that.
yeah, it
I
was
like
fun.
that. It does sort of change my view on sandwiches, maybe, but I'll let you know.
Mhm.
Hey, okay, so we talked about getting small, getting big, and I don't know what, going to a new planet and finding, insects that are communicate with humans
Mhm.
in some way. Oh my goodness, yeah, I can't read that out loud. Let's see. I've had to shy away from spiders and scorpions in one of my weekly D&D games due to phobic players.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's important to talk to your players about where their lines are,
Mhm.
as far as what they want introduced to the game. And if somebody has an insect phobia or something of that sort, then you should respect that and, not introduce giant bugs into your game.
Mhm.
David Bodie says gives a new meaning to fear of Cuban sandwiches. Is that I? Did it need a new meaning? I think I've never heard of fear of Cuban sandwiches before, but
Mhm.
we will take that into account during the sandwich portion of our adventure
Right.
for you, my friend. Squire brings up something about the praying mantis. Oh, yeah, yeah. This is a sad story. My dad once got a praying mantis for our garden. He was so proud of it until one of our chickens gobbled it up. I once saw
Yep.
a praying mantis in Texas, and I said, "Wow, this is so amazing!" I got really close to it, and it attached itself to my lip.
Oh no.
I still like him, but that was
Yeah.
unpleasant. So yeah. All of
Agreed.
this is to say, yeah, be sensitive. Folks might come from a traumatic sort of experience with insects or bugs, and they're gross to some, and that's I do like
Mhm.
that a lot.
Yeah,
So
it's weird how
Mhm.
much of it like GM shorthand large insects are as like a I don't know what's going to happen, so it might as well be big
Might
spiders.
as well be giant bugs. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a crutch I lean on when I don't know exactly what's going to happen. Because I know it'll
Mhm.
be something effective for the players, and they understand what these things can do at a smaller scale, so it's easy to fill in
Right.
details for a bigger encounter.
They're pretty good for a go-to monster of some sort, as far as
Mhm.
that
and guy.
goes.
And guys, the chat is their humor cycle is in sync now, and so we're just done for.
Mhm.
They're all saying the same jokes at the same time.
Sure.
It's just
Well,
we created a
sometimes
monster.
we're just here to facilitate that, and
Mhm.
Truth,
I think we have to
absolutely.
honor that.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things I think about is when designing something that has insects involved, the landscape is so signature. Like you think
Hmm.
of like aliens kind of landscape, or there's like sort of stalagmites and stalactites, or circuitous sort of things. What do we have anything in the Green Ronin archives that would serve as a base or as something that you could stage an insect sort of colony in?
Hmm. I want to say that we don't have any good cave maps for mutants and masterminds per se, although there are a ton of cave maps out there for gamers who want them.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and those are sort of classic, insect layers as far as that goes.
Yeah.
But I think you could personally get a lot of interesting mileage out of the abandoned subway
Oh, great.
station as a place to have giant insects layering in, especially in an urban area. If you want a big underground space where they're hanging out.
Yeah, that's great. Claude brings up the Brood as a good example of a
Yeah,
cosmic.
great
Yeah,
example of
that's great.
alien
Yeah.
insects.
Yeah, we do have alien insects in the Cosmic Handbook, the scree,
We
which
do.
are four-limbed
Oh yeah,
spider-like creatures.
Yep.
One of
I
them is
dig
a
it.
Star Knight from memory.
Yeah, there is one.
SC Terran Maroon mentions that heroic bug characters are quite cool. Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
like the tick.
Yeah, or the
Those-
Fly, or
Right.
Spider-Man.
Right, yeah. Squire says, "Oh, I have a question. I was planning on a mad scientist having an animal growth rate to have an army of giant critters. How would you approach that? Ranks of growth to offset the shrinking? Would that be a way, or something else?"
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you're gonna probably want to set up giant insects in their own right, rather than try and figure out what their tiny little stats are and then enlarge them, because the a lot of that doesn't really scale super well.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd
Now,
potentially make the growth ray have growth ranks, but I wouldn't worry too much about the original stats.
Right.
The growth ranks would just be to if somebody can nullify the growth.
Yeah.
Because when they shrink back down to regular size, they're not a combat threat anymore. So you don't
Right.
need the stats for the little bugs.
a poop brings up something really true. And when you walk into a space that is normally bustling or something else, and you see that a colony is set up in this, and he mentions a subway, a cruise ship, a theme park.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's great. Now, do we? I know David Bodie brought up if you're looking for insect heroes based on cultures or nationalities, you got good examples with Soviet scorpion and
Mhm.
Jamaican hero Antmon. Is that
Antmon. I think that's a
Antmon?
Jamaican accent joke.
I think so. Yeah. Is that? I mean, I wasn't sure if it was a joke or if it was a character and we are just making a joke. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, RC says I just realized I want to stat up the bugs from the Mummy.
Oh, sure. The scarab beetles.
Mhm.
Those are
Yeah.
terrifying.
Well, RC, I've got stats for that effect. I don't have them as individual creatures, but I
Right.
make them a lair action basically in the
Mhm.
lair of the mummy.
Yeah.
They do damage and weaken stamina.
Mhm. Well, and Alex, that's a great point. That especially for like swarms of insects, they are oftentimes basically just sort of a mobile power effect more than
Mhm.
they are a creature than anything else. You can use some of the insubstantial effects and things like that to do swarms, but a lot of times they're just an effect like an affliction, or a mobile damage effect or something like that that just has a cloud modifier on it and is just something that like a huge massive bugs attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of things like that I'll build just as powers, either for a villain in particular or as a lair action if you're in an
Right.
interesting location, like Steve said.
Yeah.
John mentions Alan Dean Foster wrote an interesting take on an
Yep.
insect race, the Thranks.
Yep.
Vegetarian,
do.
largely peaceful, to whom humans were a frightening species. I do like that narrative
Yeah.
because it's the one that's probably closest to the truth.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
and that's a fun kind of way to kind of turn a trope on its head. Let's
That's true.
see. Just
I
give
think good bugs is a great wealth of place to travel as a GM. Just like
Mhm.
bugs that are in polite society or are a
Yeah.
wonderful Soviet like socialist society.
They
Sure.
have an
Yeah.
incredibly peaceful collective.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
Um,
everybody contributes to the good of the hive, and
Right.
nobody
right.
complains, and there's no 1% in Ant
Right.
Hill.
There's no capitalism. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The dream, I guess. Raymond says just give normal sized insects abilities that make them bigger threats than just in a
Sure.
swarm, like a metal eating termite. Sure.
Yep.
Would
Mhm.
be a nightmare in modern cities or on a spaceship.
Yep.
Yeah,
I like
making
that.
a swarm stat block is another good way to simulate a lot of bugs if you want them to be something that the players can interact with from turn to turn,
Yeah.
rather than just dealing with the effect that they're having on the environment.
I like that. Raymond, given that you are the one that unleashed this swarm of topic on the community, I'm curious from your perspective, what are some of your favorite thoughts when you're like piecing together storylines and elements of an insect engagement, good or bad or however, ants versus capitalism, sure. I'm always fascinated with just the colony of ants and how they're efficient and they're making tending gardens and they're, there's a nursery and that whole thing. And oftentimes I think we take we must kill it with fire, but it's an interesting kind of, we must defend it from, enemy ants or something.
Well, and you can play a great scenario with that setup if you're running a superhero game with the right kinds of technology. You could do a whole scenario that is okay, so somebody experimenting with a shrink ray has accidentally gotten lost inside of an anthill, and your heroes have to shrink down and go in and get them because just digging up the anthill at normal size has got a really good chance of killing them. So it has to be a very delicate operation. You have to shrink down to ant size in order to fit into the anthill, and that it turns out the side effect of the shrinking ray is it also really reduces the effects of your powers.
Right.
So that ants are now giant threats.
I like that. A recommended reading for a kind of a theme of an ant-based engagement, Atta, A-T-T-A, a book I loved, but it was just about somebody who found themselves suddenly shrunk into this world and having a sort of unusual relationship with an ant.
It's certainly possible to play the ants as just giant monsters. But it may also be about how the heroes are going to figure out a way to get past them without hurting them that much.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. Bees too strike me as a really rich sort of space to kind of tell some stories with the same notion. Yeah. Something's wrong with the bees.
The cool thing about ants and bees and spiders is that they come with a built-in location to explore.
Right.
There is a setting associated with those creatures.
Right.
Let's see. I see Terran Marine says, I know Stellaris game has cute butterfly aliens who are portrayed in memes as evil genocidal marauders.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
It's like Gandhi in Civilization.
Yeah. Apu brings up the xenomorphs from Alien movies. And it's just a normal bug at human scale because bugs are that terrifying. Sure. Yeah. I mean, plus acid and the propensity to lay eggs inside of you. I guess bugs do that, right?
Some do.
Especially
if they're giant sized.
No, I feel it. I feel why Ornon had to go. Let's see here. Gandhi will nuke you in Civ. That's true. Yeah.
He will. He doesn't care.
Ron Mapat says, also using ants as power effects a la the ant movies. Ant-Man movies. The ant movies.
Absolutely.
That's
a lot
brilliant.
Of Ant-Man's powers are really just, ants as a descriptor for another power effect.
That's great. That is really
When
smart.
I've built Ant-Man in the past, I've just used his ant tricks as an array of its own, rather than going with the minion rules or the sidekick rules. So you don't have a million ant stat blocks to navigate. You just do what the ants can do.
Right.
I give them like a create ability to make steps and ladders and rafts and stuff, and a bite people ability and a distracting, nullify electronics, all sorts of fun tricks that you could do with the ants.
Absolutely.
I do love too the notion of if you shrink down as the backyard turns into something terrifying, and you can really get creative about sort of a mundane landscape that is
you can totally do a Honey, I Shrunk the Superheroes scenario where the characters are essentially dumped in the backyard and they have to deal with all of the denizens.
I love that. Yeah. Finding things they lost a long time ago, but they're so small that there's my watch that I've been looking for. This is so funny. The Rebel Moose is talking about the infiltrate the ant colony session where 70% of the challenge is dealing with the ants just picking you up and tossing you out of the ant hill because you don't smell familiar. That's clever. I like that. Kind of a fun puzzle game that you can kind of build in.
I love the idea of a Honey, I Shrunk the Supervillains adventure that doesn't have a villain. It's just an accident at Astro Labs.
Sure, absolutely.
The heroes are there to review the shrink ray, and they accidentally get shrunk.
That's a classic like Saturday morning cartoon scenario of your friend, the sort of kooky scientist, has invented a shrink ray, and he's invited you over to his lab to see it, and oopsie,
somebody tripped over it.
You're all shrunk,
And then the whole adventure is figuring out how to get the attention of the people who can unshrink you.
Right.
Okay, this is
surviving the backyard barbecue test that you were a
Mhm.
part of for some reason.
So this is getting it's scratching sort of a creative itch that I've got, which is, sorry to say that, I don't know why that comes across so gross to me. But Squire says, I remember an old comedy superbook that suggested someone with ant control powers could have the ants jump up and down on the villain's eyelids to make them think they're sleepy. That's silly. I mean, that's fun, but
Mhm.
there are some really clever things that you could probably think about if you immerse yourself in that space and think
Mhm.
what could happen in that regard. I mean, that's sure being able to control insects. That is one creepy.
Sure.
You know, really be upsetting.
Mhm.
Just a normal size, you know.
Yep.
Let's see. Raymond says, I like to mix insects with other types of creatures to make new threats, and the heroes have to deal with it. Giant ants mixed with the traits of a green dragon is a good threat. Sure, I like that. You know, so I know that someone, I think it was Pope, mentioned dung beetles,
Mhm.
and you know, building a culture, kind of like what dung beetles are like. I mean, that could be so fun, like a quirky kind of fun sort of protect the dung beetle as they roll their you know their ball around, and you know they've got to get there. Really,
there are
cute.
so many great role playing opportunities with insects. You get to completely decide what their culture and like their voices are like, and yeah, it's so much fun.
Nice.
Oh yeah, you know what I'm thinking too with the idea of like queens and sort of the way that the colonies are assembled. You know, when it's time to bring a new queen into the mix, like there could be some, you know, some palace intrigue to kind of help out.
Indeed. And Alex raises a good point too, that something that shouldn't be overlooked for a superhero game, is that although usually most of your interactions with insects are going to be quasi-scientific, there is also the possibility of magical insects. You know, what happens when you are in the spirit world and you are meeting with the spirits of bee and beetle and ant, who are, you know, intelligent and can talk, you know, and have their own ideas about the world.
That's fascinating. You know, I there's a couple ideas that folks are sharing that I just think is really great. One of and they're blending for me, but the idea of ants in their current size suddenly be getting like they get consciousness, but they're trying to hide it from humanity, and so they're like, you know, this whole mystery is unfolding. That would be a lot of fun. Dr. Smalls invented a shrink ray. It went off, and now he and it are lost somewhere in the lab. We are sending you to find him. Yeah, that's exactly right.
I've decided all dung beetles are from Brooklyn.
You think so?
They have that accent. Like, I'm rolling here.
That's right.
Out of the way.
I see them also as being some measure of like percussionists, like, you know, just when they're not rolling their dung ball around, they're, you know, banging on the drum or something like that.
Just stamping their feet.
Right, exactly. Let's see.
Now you smell kind of pretty to be around down here. I know you're not from here.
That's a fresh ball. Raymond says, looking at the various insect-based creatures in monster manuals for other RPGs and figuring out how to make them in M&M is another good source of insect threats. Yeah.
Sure, absolutely.
D&D Pathfinder, exactly. In the microverse, ants could be giants. That's true.
Yeah.
Isn't there a colony? Yeah, that's exactly right. I love that. Rama Pat asks, isn't there a colony insect villain in the Freedom City setting?
There is the infamous Collective, who is a collection of radioactive intelligent cockroaches in a trench coat.
You in one trench coat? A single one?
Usually, yeah.
There's a hat, too.
Yeah, I was going to say often has a hat.
Okay.
It's a really terrible disguise, but they're cockroaches. What do you expect?
Oh, yeah, no. I would not like to be standing in line behind that at Starbucks.
They absorb energy and grow and multiply.
Ew.
Until they become giant masses of cockroaches.
Oh, yeah. ST Turn Marine mentions that dung beetles were considered sacred in ancient Egypt. Yeah. There could be something serene and sort of, you know, yeah.
Look, it's a shitty job, but somebody's got to do it, you know?
That's right. There's a list of bug archetypes in the Deluxe Game Master's Guide, I believe, right? Says RC.
There is.
Nice. Squire says, oh, yeah, I've been barred by my wife of using the Collective.
That's fair.
Sure.
That's
the
fair.
Collective has been banned from your table.
I have also been banned from using the Collective in superhero games. So,
Steve, if you want to write an adventure for the Collective, I'm down.
I had a group of heroes who ended up being buried under a tidal wave of cockroaches, and they were not happy about it.
Oh, that's mean.
I wouldn't be a superhero anymore. I'd be like, you know what?
I'm done.
Screw great
Yeah, I'm over
responsibility.
this.
I'm out here,
Yeah.
Uncle Ben.
Exactly.
You weren't talking about this, Uncle Ben, when you're talking about everything you said.
Ronafet says that would require a lot of tiny trench coats. Yeah, I suppose that's, I mean, as opposed to one, just normal one, just a bunch of weird little bugs in trench coats wandering around would be distressing as well.
Yep.
But
Ken did say hi everyone and happy Pride. So happy Pride, Ken.
Oh yeah, happy Pride, everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Maybe there's some maybe someone's shrunken and dragged into a mutagenic ant colony or beehive, and you have to get them out before they're cocooned and transformed into another insect. Sure. Yeah.
Or worse yet, they're not shrunken, and all of the giant insects are actually human-sized and have a colony full of sacks where people are being mutated.
Such the sacks. I know
that when that happens.
Yeah, me too.
For the cockroaches in little trench coats, I've got a villain in one of my Icons books called Dr. Kafka, who is a super intelligent cockroach who pilots an android that he is in the head of.
That's brilliant.
Every once in a while, the android's face opens up, and there's this little cockroach in a lab coat who's operating the controls.
I love that
microphone.
Kind of a Ratatouille or General Grievous or kind of thing going on there. I love that.
We've got giant cockroaches in Titan City too. There's a whole race of giant subterranean cockroaches that can band together to make magic happen.
Okay, they're good magic. What would that be? Yeah,
it's not good magic. They mostly band together and shoot lightning bolts together as a team.
Oh, they're just popping off with lightning. I love it. SC Terran Marine says, I know a lot of Mega Man X and Mega Man Zero villains are humanoid insect robots. Okay, sure. Yeah. I don't remember past my frustration. Drove me crazy, those games. Okay, so a giant beehive hanging from a bridge now, says RC. Yeah. That's an interesting thing too of an alien invasion, but it's really like they're seeking help and they want, the safety, and they set up right under the Golden Gate Bridge. And
a great example of that, to use the sort of earthly equivalent, is a lot of times swarms of bees, will, basically go wandering, looking for a new place to establish a hive. And you'll occasionally just see a big swarm of bees just hanging out,
Mr. Kenson, that is so,
on a car or a tree or, something
somewhere
like that.
They should not be.
It is hilarious that you bring it up, because as we kind of move through this, I was going to mention it. There's one time I was in my backyard and I heard a humming that was it sounded bee-like, but it was it
was loud.
And I've never seen a thing like it. A wall of bees that I'm thinking, how do I get away from this? It is literally just a wall. Like I can't go up. I can't, it's just there. And it was probably, I want to say, I don't know. The beekeeper said it was 40,000 bees. They just flew right by me. They didn't care.
Now imagine a species of alien insects that are like that travel through space.
Oh my gosh.
They've ended up on Earth because they're looking around for a place to settle. And they're like, yeah, we need a break. This planet seems nice, and people are like, it's an invasion. And
exactly.
Insects are like, what? We just, wanted to, stop off for a break.
Ron Pat offers an interesting sort of tweak to that notion. Why are these
people in colorful outfits hitting us?
Yeah, we just came here because we were looking for our smaller sisters bees that we need help, and we need their something to be able to get out of here or be protected. Or I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
Let's see. I want to look at this real quick. For a normal insect threat, just unleash a massive hive of murder hornets on a city, and the heroes have to protect civilians while dealing with or do it in a real city to watch it and then write up what happens and have an adventure later. I like that.
One wasp flew in here while I was staying here this week, and that was enough for me.
Right.
The minute I see a murder hornet is the minute that I'm done.
And that's a great suggestion, Raymond, just in terms of the insects could just be a distraction for something.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right.
or an unexpected side effect of a supervillain's
Of something.
plan. Yeah, like they were doing
David,
something in the environment, and the insects are agitated about it.
Mm-hmm.
David Bodie mentions that that he's got a video on his phone of a red wasp caught in the web of a black widow spider, and the two are fighting. You know, that reminds me of being caught in the middle of a war that's not yours, but you're somehow stranded or something happens. You know, like that. That could be a Starhaven backdrop, right? I mean, like you could get into some friction, some yeah.
You can definitely unleash the unexpected bugs buried in the ice of Europa.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're crystal bugs on Europa.
Yeah, we'll have Starhaven troopers.
This is funny too. Squire mentions I love that whole like the bees see something and they stop being bees because they're like, oh, we don't have to do that. But that could be kind of expanded to be like, you got to convince the bees to be bees again. But Squire says, now I'm thinking of these human-sized insects who are thinking, wow, you have cars and planes. We don't have to fly everywhere. And then you have, they're just like, yeah, or they become like sports car enthusiasts. And I do like that.
Well, when humans introduce, anti-monarchy, to a colony of insects, and they're like, overthrow the queen.
That's right.
Why are we doing all this work?
A bunch of just real angry punk rock bees disrespecting the queen.
So, well, you can go with the thing from Kipo's cartoon with the dubstep bees. They were always
Or you could also just imagine a bunch of Chris Pramuses.
Sure.
Yeah, not really
I'm picturing a collective of bees that is trading with humans, and they keep giving us cars and stuff, and all they want is our vomit.
Right? Right. We are making out like bandits here.
Oh, how funny. You eat that?
Right?
You guys are gross.
That is so disgusting.
Oh, you want some wax too? Okay.
That's
a great deal for us.
From, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Oh no, you can have as much of that as you like. Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. We'll that is hilarious. Setting up, roadside stands, and selling their wax to people who come and buy it for crafts. Let me see here. I'm also thinking that even a fist-sized bee or wasp is a major threat. That's true. It doesn't have to be massive. That's a really good point. I think
I saw one like that in the real world. I would run like hell.
Yeah, no, I'm having a visceral reaction to that. Yikes. And I wanted to catch this one. Yeah, I'm with you, Rama. We had the same kind of notion at the same time here that maybe they are seeking help, and it's not from humans, that they want to connect with that colony or the sort of corollary, existence. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah. So
here's Chris.
Chris mentions covered in bees, and that means that I have to mention, for the theme of this episode, possibly the greatest insect villain of all time, which is Swarm, who is a radioactive Nazi skeleton covered in bees who shoots bees at people.
Wow.
That guy sucks.
Right?
Yeah. I thought you were going to say bee beard.
No.
Old bee beard.
Definitely no. And of course he wears a cape, which is the best part.
Of course he does. And then just Chris covered in meebies.
Yeah,
I love that. An insectoid alien species that is disgusted that we have skeleton inside of us.
Skeletons are inside you? That's great.
What's wrong with you, Poke?
You just have your meat on the outside?
Right.
Disgusting.
Doesn't that hurt? What if you spring a leak?
What if something stabs you?
Right.
Right.
How are you protected at all?
I love it. And then maybe, if you've got a hero who's wearing armor of some kind that can be very respectful and what you're doing. The soft
exactly. You at least have an exoskeleton,
That's right.
Even their meat has a hierarchy. I hate these humans. Their internal organs are more important than their external organs.
Mm-hmm.
It is funny to me as well to think of like something that has to be explained or something bad will happen. Sort of like, I'm thinking of the start. Is it Voyager, with the like, where's the one whale? Get it quickly because the
right.
But if these these insects are doggedly determined to get rid of humans because they're doing something badly, and it just makes sense, and they're just like taking care of it like you would a sort of problem in the hive, and you've got to convince them that
Right.
this very explicit thing is different, in context, or maybe it isn't. I don't know.
Right. Stop
Let's
helping us.
see. We've got, how would you pronounce Xindi?
Zindi. They're called.
Zindi. Okay. Gotcha.
Yes.
That's David
A
Woody mentioned the
insectoid
alien
alien
race.
race from Star Trek Enterprise.
Yeah, I love that. So we've covered a lot of sort of engagements and things and various ideas on how to blend in some insects. We've talked a little bit about sort of maps and locations and things, some great suggestions. What are we missing? Like, where else can insects sort of influence? I guess I suppose you could create just a hero that is insect related, some kind of hybrid, or a visiting giant, I don't know, ladybug, I suppose.
I love the idea of an insect themed hero who doesn't like bugs,
Right.
and who has nothing to do with bugs, and the bugs assume that hero is trying to make contact with them, so they abduct him.
Right.
That's funny.
I mean, honestly, if you're going to create, some kind of means of controlling bugs, it might well be because you don't like them very much, and you want to be able to keep them away from you.
Oh, Raymond brings up a great resource. Even if you got to watch some of the background characters beyond those like funny little worm guys or whatever, but Men in Black and the various insect aliens, they really covered. They ran the gamut there, didn't they? The skin suit and the
cockroaches wearing a skin suit. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Let's see. I want to mention. John says I already got an idea for a Silver Age-ish insect-themed villain, Gummy Worm, the stretchy bug bandit. Sure. Yeah.
And his buddy, the gummy bear.
Right. Bouncing here and there. And Squire wants to know which book was the Nazi bees in.
That's a Marvel villain, actually. Swarm's been around for years.
Oh.
He's a Silver Age Marvel villain.
I like it. It's funny. One of the things when you were talking about the bug hero that doesn't really care for bugs, it reminds me of the person who hates cats that all cats love.
Yep, they can sense it.
It would be hilarious just to have this hero who is operating in the world, and the bugs are doing all kinds of things for them, and they just are like, trying to get. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Claude, actually, I think that the notion of a sort of insect-themed vigilante is a great one. I mean, if you want to do something scary, I can totally see that.
I would rather get beat up by Batman,
right?
Killer Wasp.
Oh my gosh, absolutely, yeah. Ugh. There's also Spider's Man,
right? Which is the man made out of spiders.
Is it really a Spider's Man? I'm so mad about that right now. Earthprime as a beekeeper villain.
Yep.
Says Claude.
Silver Age character who is long since retired, but great fodder for a legacy bad guy.
That's right. Or perhaps a granddaughter or a grandson. Let's see.
It ties back into what we were talking about with insects being something that you can use to actually scare superheroes because it scares the players.
Right.
Is that the Red Bee, or is the Red Bee someone different?
No, the Red Bee is actually a character from the comics. DC comics, I think, if I remember correctly.
S.C. Terry Marie mentions female fatale praying mantis villainess. Oh, sure. Yeah. Kind of the classic spy kind of,
Yep.
Except she bites your head off.
That's right.
Yeah.
The spy / assassin. Yeah.
My one superpower is my distending jaw.
Oh, I see. Okay. Puka's explaining Spider's Man.
Yes. It's even worse than you think.
It really is sort of silly. But that's interesting. Really, if you're going to look like kind of think of interesting things that can happen to bugs and why they become problematic or to change in some way that you have to contend with is, just in your mind, run through what are the different things that bugs can get into and what would potentially happen. And that's kind of fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see. Red Bee was a Quality Comics hero, but he's public
Yeah.
domain, so DC has used him in the past. Gotcha. I love that. Yeah, I'm thinking of, when it comes to how you would express stuff like a spaceship. If
Mhm.
you're an alien race, what does that spaceship look like? That kind of thing. But
Right.
it's not a real difficult proposition. But are there some thoughts about how you would add texture to some of these experiences to make them maybe a little different, a little unique, a little surprising?
Well, you can do all kinds of things, in terms of what you define as a spaceship in the first place. I
Mm,
mean, is this, just a hollowed out asteroid that the bugs use as a giant hive and they drive with their
yeah.
ability to control gravity? Or
Well, that's a
is
little
it made
different.
out of
Yeah.
webs?
Yeah.
Is it, it could be all kinds of different, technologies. Is it some sort of living biological
Yeah.
ship?
Is it just the biggest bug in the hive?
Right, exactly. Is it just a giant
Oh,
bug the other
right.
bugs can fit inside of?
Yes, right.
You
No,
know,
is that I'm trying to recall, maybe I'm just thinking of StarCraft. But where the
The
insects
Zerg.
do,
Yeah.
yeah, the Zerg and all of their kind of,
hmm
yeah, they're the weapons.
right?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
Let me see. I'm falling behind on our little chat conversations.
yeah.
And aren't there insect Star Knights
There
in
are.
There are.
Well,
FV?
There's
there
at least
definitely
one.
are. They're right. There's at least one we know of, and maybe others.
Like that. I once had a Monarch, the Monarch, a butterfly themed vigilante. I also like
I
the Monarch from.
I was just gonna say I have nothing but respect for Venture Brothers, but I have to say that I really am disappointed in the way they've ruined the name Monarch for any character.
That's right.
Mhm.
They own it, don't they?
They really do. They really do. That character completely owns that name now, and now you can't use it anymore because I've tried, and players just laugh at that.
I love that. Raymond says a true fun look. For true fun, look up the more exotic insects with unique, unusual abilities or defenses. The stink
hmm
bug, the bombardier beetle, or
Yep.
even the fungus that gets into an ant's head and
Oh
then
yeah,
it.
the zombie fungus that controls ants.
Mhm.
Yes. It
Yeah.
just moves it where it wants to so it can spread. That's pretty gross.
Yep.
Well, that's
Yeah.
another good multi-level threat for your heroes to face off. Is everybody thinks the ants are the problem, but really they're victims of another villain, another layer up.
hmm
So
Yeah.
running
Yeah.
into them and realizing that the cordyceps are the problem.
Yep.
Oh, Death's Head Moth, says Jump. That might be
Yeah.
suitable, more serious upgrade from Killer Moth.
hmm
Though it's hard for me to separate that from, Silence of the Lambs kind of thing.
Mm,
Let's see. That's the fun guy. Yeah.
yep.
There's a new reason the Zerg's infested Terran spawn voice line is "Live for the Swarm." Yeah. Yeah, you read
Yep.
the word monarch in the characters. I do too. Chris mentions
Right.
you just see that exactly.
I, the monarch. Yeah.
It's so good.
Indeed.
I love it. A war between the slug and rose aliens. Sure.
Sure.
I've never really thought of slugs as a part of an adventure and what that would look like, but now I am, and it's unpleasant.
hmm Right.
I like that.
And everybody wonders why I have problems with gravy. It's the slug
Mhm.
problem all over again.
Right. Right.
Oh,
Viscous fluids of all kinds.
Mhm.
slugs just tortured my childhood. I would always step on one on the patio with a sock on. Blech.
Mm.
Oh no!
Yucko. Oh, it's the worst. Let's see. Pope says, I can't let this whole stream go by without Japanese Spider-Man getting mentioned. Sure.
Yeah,
I like that.
that's an experiment for folks to research on YouTube and look at
Yeah.
themselves.
Gravy slug. Claude, how dare you? Let's see. Oh no, it's the Grubby Squatch. Gross. Grubs are not fun. I don't
Oh.
like those guys. Let's see. Oh no, not
I
Alex.
shouldn't have opened my mouth. I've gone and made
Right.
gravy squatch worse.
I know, right? I mean, yeah. So everyone pull out your bingo, your gravy card. It's your lucky day. Insect and plant aliens at war. Oh yeah, I
Yep.
like that. I really do. That's
Sure.
great. Horror adventure could be an intelligent insect species is dying out due to too much inbreeding, so they seek humans to create hybrids to. Ooh, that kind of turn my stomach a little bit. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because they need to keep the line going. And that's always the visiting alien trope as well. Like
Yeah, indeed.
they need your stuff to make their stuff. Let's see. If they don't want to become part of the gravy squatch, then they shouldn't be called grub.
Right.
Okay, we got a whole fanfic going on here, I think.
Right.
Wow, it's 2:55.
That would be a horrible revelation about Grubhub.
That is. It reminds me of Slurm.
Right.
Oh, this is so delicious. I love it. You can't get it anywhere else but Grubhub.
Right.
All right, but now I
It's
kind of
tough
want
odds.
there to be a food app that's run by insects in
Mhm.
the Freedomverse.
Sure.
They're raising money for some reason.
So gross. They're raising so. Yeah, exactly. That's an. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's.
What do you mean it's
awesome.
$50 for
SCP.
one sandwich?
Right. Ridiculous.
If it wasn't so delicious. Let's
Why is
see.
this sandwich
Isn't
full
that
of
the Alien
spiders?
franchise? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Slurm Dominic mentions. All right. Well,
Not the
listen. So
spider sandwich.
Right.
it is 2:55. That means we have 5 minutes left. We have well and truly bugged out. Folks, if there's an aspect when you think about an app run by houseflies, flyby. No,
Yeah.
I hate. Just houseflies are just irritating. Just sitting there bouncing off things right next to the microphone. Let's see. Someone set up Slurms McKenzie. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, great conversation. I appreciate that. And now if there's aspects of this that if you're like, I would really like to know about the mechanics of this particular irritating bug idea that I've got that'll gross us out, send a note to let's play at greenorney.com and we will ignore it. No, we won't. We will look at it, we'll talk about it and provide you some advice on how to make it interesting and just upsetting enough.
Exactly.
Steve, what do you got cooking this week? Anything happening in the Kinson-verse?
Let's see. Folks can check out the second part of my aliens article for icons that drops on my Patreon on Wednesday. And if folks are interested in finding out more about Dr. Kafka, he's in Icons Adversaries, the first villain source book for icons, which I think also has a battlesuit villain called Firefly, who's got a
cool
bug theme going on.
We dropped that link, but of course everybody knows it's patreon.com/Steve Kenson.
Yes, indeed.
Very, very cool. Anything else cooking that folks should know about?
What else have I got going on? That's pretty much the big stuff at the moment. Working on all kinds of upcoming M&M projects, including material for the Valiant Adventures game and some Fantasy Age stuff right now.
Yeah, Dominic mentions I'm going to have to keep up on you guys for crisis prep. Yeah, we should probably have we got to wrangle that. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the reminder. That, of course, being that Dominic just approached us and said, hey, I'd love to, there's an idea. And we kind of put our brains together and made, a program. We did a whole episode. And in addition, we're doing a live stream where Dominic's going to be the GM and we're going to play. And we're going to make it so difficult for you, Dominic. We're going to make things real weird. Awesome. That's great stuff. Alex, you've got a ton cooking, don't you?
I sure do. We got some fun new art that I can't wait to show everybody this morning for a new adventure that looks so good.
Who arted?
I don't know who arted it, but it looks great. But
cool.
I don't know if we can show that yet. But tomorrow we are doing a new stream.
That's right. That's right.
For M&M. We're going to do the joys of game mastering, in which I'm going to be breaking down the Paragon archetype and building some fun characters for one of my Origins events and talking about the merits of a Superman and what makes a Superman in the multiverse.
I love that. Alex, we've had people who have been requesting for a long time for us to kind of get into the nitty gritty of it. And, while we have oftentimes tried to incorporate that into this program, chat dismisses it immediately. and it turns into a free-for-all of ridiculousness, which we love as well. But I'm looking forward to that. And now, what are we calling it? Did we pick a name for it?
The joys of game mastering.
Okay, that's so perfect. That is perfect. I'll get to work on a logo, friend.
Yeah, and we're gonna try to do this once a month. It's just gonna be time to get together and work on M&M stuff. Specifically this week, I'm working on my Origins preparation for the Origins event I'm running, a Superman for All Seasons, in which Supermen from across the multiverse come together to stop an evil super person.
I like it.
And I'm using Superman as a catch-all. They're super folk. They're super people from across the multiverse.
Right.
We're going to be standing up Samwise Gamgee as one of the Supermen.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Because I will die on this hill. Sam is the Superman of Middle-earth.
I agree 100%. But or the Eagles, I guess. But you know, the other thing I was going to say is, you know, what's fun about this as well is it really is an opportunity to get into your head and just really see how all the pieces fit together. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be an awesome opportunity to get to know Alex some more if you don't know him already, and also just get right to the source of Mutants and Masterminds goodness. But that's not all you got cooking, right? I mean, don't you have streams and things? And
I do have a stream on Wednesday. We're going to be returning to Freedomly Dark in the Multiverse at the Master Mage, as we are hopefully finishing up our time in WandaVision. Right now, they're in the middle of Rover Rescue, which is the Paw Patrol episode where they're trying to rescue Rocket Raccoon from Dog Thanos. It's going to be great. And they're in the middle of helping the Defenders in Magenta Anatomy instead of Grey's Anatomy. So a lot of fun stuff.
Superpower potatoes. Hey, I was going to mention another thing. I know you're going to get some bonus time here, friends. I really dig it. I hope you do as well, because we got together, the three of us, and we plotted out some really remarkable changes, upgrades, shifts, a refresh, a renewing of the Patreon, which is patreon.com/mutants and masterminds. And I think what we'll do, when is our next chat with folks?
Our developers chat?
Yeah, is that soon? I had a calendar up and then I quickly slapped it away.
Soon-ish. It is on the 21st.
Okay.
So in basically 2 weeks.
So here's what I commit to our friends who are on the Patreon, that we'll work over the course of the next 2 weeks or so, putting some of the pieces together, and then on the 21st, we'll share it with everybody. Does that sound good? Yeah. When I say everybody, I mean only people on the Patreon. So if you want to get in on it, it's going to be good. And it really is. I'm really excited about the way that we've moved things around. And I got to say, being able to sit down and have creative collabs with you two is really rewarding. I mean, it's a lot of fun. What is that? I can always tell when something's going awry in chat because Alex's face looks distressed. Are you talking about Pantos?
Yeah, Pantos. I mean, also, I'll be reporting to that Patreon Q&A live from my hotel room at Origins.
Aye, nice. Okay, great. So
but that should be, it's 8 o'clock. It should be fine.
Yeah.
And we won't even charge you extra for that treat. Let's see. I think that we are good. And it's a dog Thanos world. I think that might be it, my friends. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Chat, of course, always much love and respect. Thank you so much for coming and making this glorious mess with us every Monday. And, oh no, Cloud says I'm running an M&M game that day. Let me know what happened. Someone.
Of course.
Thanks for doing the good work, Claude.
That's right. Stay tuned for next Thursday's Thursdage, and we'll be doing another program powered by the Adventure Game Engine. But for now, we're done. Have a great rest of your week. Enjoy yourselves, and think of some alien stuff and have fun. All right, insects, alien stuff. Bye, everyone.